What's up, everybody? We're back with another boat spotting video. This time, I'm doing dual capture so you guys can see where I am and like where I'm actually recording these videos from. And today we are out here in Dania Beach. We're just checking out the boats, seeing what we can see. As you guys can see, I'm literally doing a handhold of the camera to capture these boats. This boat is a Bayliner. That is technically a deck boat. I'm gonna try and give you guys like an introduction to boats if you're new to boating, and the different style of boats that we have here in South Florida. Bayliners are very popular boats. That's what I had. I just recently sold my Bayliner. Over here you have Boston Whaler, and he has a center console, which is something. Boston Whaler is a very highly rated brand. They're highly rated because they have unsinkable hulls. So you can see he trusts that boat with his kids, of course. I just caught my foot on these rocks. I'll show you guys. Literally just bleeding. But yeah, we're out here. We are recording what we can see. It's a Sunday. You got some tugboats over here, which the tugboats help take the cruise ships and container ships out of Port Everglades. So yeah, very interesting doing dual capture. I've never done that before, so it's kind of like making sure I have both shots in frame and not covering both cameras with my fingers, so bear with me. But coming up, you can see there's another center console. And the center consoles are famous for fishing. So you can see that this guy is trolling, right? It tends to be South Florida's boat of choice, the center consoles. And again, mostly because of fishing. You can go offshore. We're on the intercoastal right now. So offshore just means these guys are literally taking it off the coast of like 10, 15 miles, 20, 50 miles out into the ocean. This one, he has a wrap. It's a single engine, as you guys can see. And let me just move me. I like the wrap, but it's an older boat, older hull, I'll say. And how do I know? Because there's less cuts and grooves in that hull, and it's a little bit more streamlined in terms of the lines, right? It's not as curvy, especially towards the aft, the back of the boat. You can tell. Like this, probably a hull from like the late 90s or early 90s. And then also you could tell too with how the T-top is made. But here we go. We have also on this side, this is a pilot house boat. And how do you know? It has a pilot and it has a little house in the front. So he can close that. Those boats are more popular in the north, because you can get away from the elements in that pilot house. So you don't tend to see a lot of pilot houses down here, but people use them, put air conditions in the little pilot house to get away from the elements and then take them offshore. But like I said, the boat of choice down here is definitely a center console. And you have thousands of boat brands, thousands of boat brands. Like this, again, similar setup, center console, older hull, and I can tell from the design of the aft, the back of the boat, and also from the T-top I can tell It's a slightly older hull. He repowered, and or no, I was thinking he had Suzuki's, but he has two Yamahas. So I'm like looking into the camera, so bear with me, guys. But yeah, he did some work on that boat at some point. He did some work on that boat. It's different colors, repainted, probably refurbished, older hull, but still very operational. These boats are dual consoles and newer boats. And how can I tell? These are more expensive boats. You can tell because he has a radar on top. It's a little bit curvier. You can even look on the back of the boat and tell that it's not a straight rectangle like the aft curves. The lines on this are a lot more. Best way is just curvier. Yeah, much newer boat. And then these are European styled designed boats. And how can I tell? I can tell from the hull that this is a European designed boat. That brand actually, Axopar, they won Boat of the Year a couple years ago, right here in Fort Lauderdale. I want to say it was like 3-4 years ago. They won Boat of the Year, Axopar, because of the style. It was new, it was efficient, and unique. But going back to this boat, you could even tell just the design of the glass, much newer, much more expensive style boat. And he has two nice Yamahas on that nice boat. Most people can't afford a boat like that. But going back to South Florida's boat of choice, right here we have a nice offshore center console. This is something that most people down here would desire. You know, anywhere in that $100,000 to $250,000 price range. 30-foot dual engines on the back, and perfect for offshore fishing. Perfect to take the family out. Like, these are beautiful boats. People love them down here. Very capable type boats. But then this is what you would call like an entry into boating. So this is I can't see it properly, but from what I can tell, it looks like a Bayliner. And it does not have a T-top. It has you can see the little bimini top, and the bimini is the little cloth top held up by these like aluminum poles. Very small engine, not very capable boat to go offshore, but you know, it's your entry into boating. So I've done a couple videos on boats like that, whereas something like this, people call them a bow rider with a sports top, a wake boat sports top, but still is a bow rider, perfect for family cruising. Oh no, that looks like a Yamaha. Yeah, it's a Yamaha. That looks like the Yamaha jet boats. I'm zoomed in so far, if you guys can see how far I am. So far from those boats. Oh, here's a container ship. Interesting. So our first container ship coming in. When I say, guys, there is so much boating activity right now. And container ships, self-explanatory, right? They carry containers. This type of boat is a grandfather boat. That's what I call them. But they are, words not coming to me right now. But they rent these boats a lot. They're perfect for the intercoastal. They're perfect for staying afloat. They're not made of fiberglass. They're made of aluminum. The deck is 100% customizable. Um, yeah, and then the C-Box center console, really nice boat. Sorry, covering myself. Covering myself. Yeah. So, if you ever wanted to get into boating, I would tell you, it depends on where you are, what the need and purpose of, like, what would you need the boat for, right? Because look on this little boat right here. This is a very, very small aluminum boat. Very small, right? He has a very small motor on it, but 3 people are on it. Little John boats, right? Perfectly capable for what he might be using it for, right? Like he might just be wanting to go into some of these smaller bodies of water to fish, right? Catch and release type of fishing. And that something like that would only cost him, $2,000 to $3,000, maybe under $5,000 for a little John boat like that, including the motor, right? But then you have something like this that has a cabin, right? And brand new, this would be 200 plus. This right here used is 50, 60,000, because it's more than a decade old. And he has an inboard. You don't see any engines on the outside, so he has an inboard engine, which is harder to fix. So these depreciate very fast, and a lot harder to maintain. So the value of those drop after you buy them brand new. Whereas something like this, which is very similar to what I just showed you, but this has an outboard, right? Similar in price, but to repower the outboards, you can spend 30,000 and get 2 new outboards on this, and the rigging is not as bad versus the inboard engine. So people down here tend to like outboards more, outboard engines, and they'll buy older hulls and repower those boats, because I don't know if you're realizing it as yet, but most boats tend to be boat brands tend to focus all of their time and energy and effort in the manufacturing process on the hull, on the boat itself, not the engines. They'll buy the engines from the 4 or 5 companies that everybody buys engines from, which is Yamaha, Mercury, Suzuki. Yeah, that tends to be what you see down here. There's a couple other brands, but most people, for the most part, have Yamaha, Mercury's, or Suzuki's down here. The newer engines look like that. The older engines look like this. The 2-strokes are much bigger and fatter. So as you can see, the newer engines have this type of shape. And this is also a newer boat as well. Both of these are newer boats. But you can also tell by the T-top, it's a hard T-top, right? And it's curvier in terms of, not the aluminum pole that goes straight up. It's a powder coated T-top, and it has a little bit of a design to it. Whereas something like this, again, perfectly capable for the family. Smaller, what they call flats boats, and perfect for fishing down here, similar to this guy. So all different types of boats. I love these cobias, right? So this cobia, perfectly capable offshore boats, dual engine, and yeah, deep V hulls. I love the hulls on these boats. So if you're ever interested, in boating and starting to consider what type of boat you would want, always start with, okay, well, where am I boating and what am I going to do with the boat? Which is still a question I have for myself, because I don't fish. I just love the boats and I love being on the water. So for me, it was more so along the lines of a bow ride, right? Something that the family can go out on and spend the day out on it. Go to the beach, enjoy, go to Peanut Island, come right here to Whiskey Creek, and less about the fishing, but capable enough to have a good family fun day out on the water. Whereas these guys are more about the fishing and also the fun with the family. And so they opt for, center consoles where you can walk around the entire hull of the boat without interfering with the captain, right? So that is my brief introduction into the world of boating and the different types of boats. As you can see, South Florida has so many different types of boats, guys. So many different types of boats. And it all just depends on your needs and wants. If you like this video, hit that like button. And as you guys can see, I'm cutting myself on rocks to make these videos, so consider subscribing. Let me go get this taken care of now. Bye. Peace.